Have you ever felt like you're stuck in your own head, holding back from taking action on something important? We all experience moments when we know exactly what we need to do, but for some reason, we hesitate. That's where the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins comes in, a life-changing tool to help you break through doubt and fear instantly. With just a simple countdown from 5 to 1, Robbins reveals how you can harness the power of this rule to launch yourself into action, change your habits, and take control of your life in seconds. The summary starts now. Part 1. The 5-second rule. This part includes chapters 1 to 4. It introduces the simple yet powerful concept that can transform your life in just 5 seconds. Mel Robbins explains how this rule emerged, why it works, and what you can expect when you start using it to overcome hesitation and take action instantly. Chapter 1. 5 seconds to change your life. In this chapter, Mel Robbins introduces the 5-second rule as a simple but powerful tool to break the habit of hesitation. She shares how she stumbled upon it during a difficult period in her life, when she was struggling with her marriage, finances, and self-esteem. One day, inspired by a countdown for a rocket launch on TV, she decided to launch herself out of bed with a 5, 4 to 3, 2 to 1 countdown. To her surprise, this small act of defiance against her negative feelings turned into a life-changing method. The 5-second rule works because it pushes you to move before your mind can come up with excuses. Robbins explains that it's not just a motivational trick, it's backed by science, and rooted in the idea of interrupting thought patterns and creating a bias towards action. She promises that using the rule can help you build confidence, courage, and take control of your life, one decision at a time. Chapter 2. How I discovered the 5-second rule. Mel Robbins reveals that she discovered the 5-second rule during a time when her life was falling apart. She faced massive financial struggles and personal conflicts with her husband. Feeling trapped and overwhelmed, Robbins hit the snooze button repeatedly every morning. One evening, she saw a rocket launch on TV, and in a moment of inspiration decided to apply a countdown in her own life. The next morning, as her alarm rang, she counted 5 to 4, 3 to 2 minus 1, and pushed herself out of bed. From that moment, she started using the countdown in various situations where she needed to overcome fear or procrastination. The rule helped her stop thinking and start acting. Robbins emphasizes that the real challenge isn't knowing what to do, but having the courage to do it. The 5-second rule became her tool to silence doubt and act on her instincts. Chapter 3. What you can expect when you use it. Robbins explains that using the 5-second rule consistently can lead to profound changes in behavior and mindset. When she started using the rule to force herself to act, she noticed immediate results. By counting down and moving physically, she interrupted her pattern of overthinking. This simple action triggered her brain to focus and shift gears. Robbins learned that the key to success wasn't about waiting to feel motivated, but about acting before hesitation set in. As she used the rule to overcome small challenges like waking up on time, she saw a ripple effect in other areas of her life. Robbins describes this as creating a bias toward action, which led to increased productivity, self-discipline, and control over her emotions. The rule helps people push through fear and procrastination, reinforcing their belief that they can control their fate. Chapter 4. Why the rule works. In this chapter, Robbins dives into why the 5-second rule is so effective. She describes it as a metacognition tool, a method that helps you control your thoughts and behavior. When you count backward from 5 to 1, you engage your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making. This interrupts negative thought patterns and primes you for action. Robbins explains that the rule taps into what researchers call activation energy, the initial force needed to overcome inertia and start something new. By physically moving in response to the countdown, you also change your physiology, which reinforces new habits. The rule works because it's simple, and it leverages the brain's natural wiring to create a habit of taking action. Robbins encourages readers to practice using the rule daily, as it will help them build confidence, break bad habits, and ultimately change their lives. Summary of Part 1. In Part 1, Robbins introduces the transformative concept that takes just 5 seconds to change your life. It all started during a time when Robbins was at her lowest, facing financial troubles and a failing career. One night, inspired by a rocket launch on TV, she decided to apply a countdown to her own life. The next morning, instead of hitting snooze, she counted down from 5 to 1 and forced herself out of bed. This seemingly small action sparked a realization. Our minds can talk us out of doing the simplest things, and breaking this habit of hesitation is crucial. The rule itself is simple. Whenever you feel an instinct to act on a goal or task, count 5 to 4, 3 to 2 minus 1 and move. Robbins explains that this trick interrupts your habit of overthinking and primes your brain to act. By using the rule consistently, you can overcome fear, procrastination, and self-doubt. The key takeaway is that success isn't about motivation, it's about action. With scientific backing, Robbins shows how the rule helps activate the prefrontal cortex, creating a bias toward action and paving the way to build courage, confidence, and control over your life. This marks the end of Part 1. Part 2, The Power of Courage. This part includes chapters 5 to 8. Robbins dives into the importance of everyday courage and explores how to start using the 5-second rule to push past doubts, even when you don't feel like it. Chapter 5, Everyday Courage. In this chapter, Mel Robbins reframes courage as not only the acts of great historical figures, but also the small, everyday moments that define our lives. She shares how courage isn't exclusive to extraordinary events, but is something you need every day to face fears, step out of your comfort zone, and push through difficult situations. Using the 5-second rule, Robbins explains, is a practical way to cultivate courage when you face uncertainty, self-doubt, or fear of failure. By acting within those 5 seconds, you're choosing to be courageous in your daily life, whether it's standing up for yourself, asking for a raise, or simply taking action on something you've been avoiding. The power of courage lies not in grand gestures, but in the small choices we make to push ourselves forward despite our fears. Chapter 6. What are you waiting for? Robbins dives into the common habit of waiting for the right time to act, pointing out how procrastination often stems from fear and uncertainty. She argues that there is no perfect moment to start, and waiting only holds us back from achieving our goals. The 5-second rule serves as a way to break this pattern by pushing you to act on instincts immediately. Robbins emphasizes that most regrets stem from the actions we didn't take because of fear or self-doubt. She shares how hesitation allows fear to grow stronger, while acting within those critical 5 seconds builds the confidence to take risks. The message is clear: stop waiting and start moving forward before the opportunity passes. Chapter 7. You'll never feel like it. Robbins tackles the universal struggle of waiting to feel ready. She reveals that the truth is, you'll rarely ever feel like doing the hard things that lead to success. Our natural inclination is to avoid discomfort, and waiting to feel motivated often results in inaction. Using the 5-second rule allows you to act before your mind convinces you otherwise. Robbins explains that making decisions based solely on feelings is a recipe for stagnation. Instead, acknowledging and moving past those feelings with decisive action is key to achieving what you want. The 5-second rule becomes a tool to bypass feelings of self-doubt and fear, helping you push yourself even when you don't feel like it. Chapter 8. How to start using the rule. In this chapter, Robbins provides practical guidance on implementing the 5-second rule in your life. She encourages readers to identify the areas where they hesitate or hold back, and to actively practice using the countdown method to build new habits. The rule is about taking ownership of your decisions and pushing through the initial resistance. Robbins emphasizes that courage is like a muscle; it grows stronger with use. By repeatedly using the rule, you can transform your instincts into actions and begin to build momentum in the areas of your life where you've been stuck. The 5-second rule empowers you to step into the discomfort and start taking small, courageous actions every day. Summary of Part 2. In Part 2, Robbins explores the concept of courage, not as grand acts of heroism, but as small daily choices that lead to personal growth and change. She reframes courage as something we all possess and can cultivate by using the 5-second rule. Robbins emphasizes that waiting for the right time or the perfect feeling is often an excuse driven by fear and self-doubt. She encourages readers to act despite their feelings, using the rule to push through hesitation and step into action. Through stories and practical insights, Robbins highlights that the key to achieving your goals isn't waiting to feel motivated, it's taking immediate action before your brain convinces you otherwise. She reinforces that courage is like a muscle that grows with use, and using the 5-second rule helps you tap into your inner courage, enabling you to make changes, take risks, and embrace opportunities without waiting for the elusive perfect moment. The message of Part 2 is clear. Courage is not a feeling, but a decision to act. This marks the end of Part 2. Part 3. Courage changes your behavior. This part includes chapters 9 to 11. Robbins emphasizes how courage, fueled by the 5-second rule, can lead to life-changing improvements in productivity, health, and overcoming procrastination. How to become the most productive person you know. Mel Robbins introduces Part 3 by emphasizing that the 5-second rule is a universal tool that can help create positive behavioral changes. She explains that using the rule consistently can lead to breakthroughs in 3 critical areas: health, productivity, and overcoming procrastination. Robbins believes that taking control of these areas allows you to reach your fullest potential and transform your daily habits. The 5-second rule works by helping you interrupt patterns of overthinking and hesitation, which are often the root of destructive or impulsive behaviors. Robbins stresses that change isn't always easy, but with the 5-second rule, it's simple and achievable. Chapter 9. Improve your health. In this chapter, Robbins focuses on using the 5-second rule to improve health and wellness. She explains that when it comes to health, the challenge isn't a lack of information or resources, but overcoming the resistance to take action. The key is to stop waiting until you feel like it, and instead use the 5 to 4, 3 to 2, -1 countdown to push yourself into making healthier choices. Robbins emphasizes that your feelings often get in the way, creating excuses to skip workouts or indulge in unhealthy foods. The rule helps you override these emotions, allowing you to act based on your goals rather than your feelings. Robbins illustrates that when you consistently use the rule, you build the courage to prioritize your health and create lasting habits. Chapter 10. Increase productivity. Robbins explains that productivity boils down to one crucial element: focus. She outlines 2 types of focus you need to master: moment-to-moment focus and big-picture focus. Using the second rule helps in managing distractions and staying committed to what's most important. Robbins shares strategies for reducing interruptions, such as turning off notifications and creating a morning routine that prioritizes your goals. The key, she says, is to take control of your mornings by not hitting snooze and avoiding distractions like checking your phone. This approach sets the tone for a productive day and allows you to focus on high-priority tasks when your mind is most alert. By taking charge of your mornings and implementing the 5-second rule, Robbins argues that you can dramatically increase your productivity and stay aligned with your long-term goals. Chapter 11. End procrastination. In this chapter, Robbins dives into the science behind procrastination and why it's not about laziness or poor time management. She explains that procrastination is a coping mechanism for dealing with stress. When faced with a task, we often avoid it to feel a sense of temporary relief, but this only compounds stress over time. Robbins introduces the 5-second rule as an effective tool to break this cycle. The rule enables you to overcome the initial resistance and take the first step toward what needs to be done. By using the countdown, you can shift your mindset and take control of your actions. Robbins advises practicing self-forgiveness for procrastination and envisioning your future self as a way to stay motivated. The rule helps you start small, gradually building the habit of taking immediate action instead of putting things off. Summary of Part 3. In Part 3, Robbins explores how the 5-second rule can transform your daily habits and behaviors, helping you become more productive, healthier, and less prone to procrastination. Robbins explains that the rule isn't just about motivation, it's about taking action despite feelings of doubt or hesitation. She begins by showing how the rule can help improve your health by encouraging you to take immediate steps towards healthier choices, even when you don't feel like it. The secret, she emphasizes, is to act before your mind convinces you otherwise. Robbins then dives into increasing productivity, highlighting the importance of focus and taking control of your mornings. By managing distractions and structuring your day intentionally, you can maximize your effectiveness and achieve your long-term goals. Finally, Robbins addresses procrastination, revealing that it's often a response to underlying stress. The 5-second rule becomes a powerful tool to break this cycle, enabling you to take small but decisive actions that build momentum. Part 3 reinforces the idea that courage isn't just a feeling, it's a choice you make every day to take control of your behavior and move towards the life you want. This marks the end of Part 3. Part 4. Courage changes your mind. This part includes chapters 12 to 14. Robbins explores the mental impact of the 5-second rule and how it can help you break negative thought patterns to create a happier and more peaceful mindset. How to become the happiest person you know. In Part 4, Mel Robbins introduces a new approach to using the 5-second rule, not just to change behavior, but to transform your mindset. She emphasizes that happiness isn't an accident but a choice, and the rule can help you gain control over your thoughts. Robbins shares her own experiences with anxiety and worry, revealing that she wasn't always the confident person she appears to be today. By combining the 5-second rule with research-based strategies, she encourages readers to rewire their thinking patterns and beat fear, anxiety, and worry. This part of the book is about taking charge of your mental state to find happiness. Chapter 12. Stop worrying. Mel Robbins argues that worrying is an ingrained habit we pick up early in life, often reinforced by our surroundings. She explains that worry is like a default setting in the brain, a state we drift into when we aren't paying attention. To break free from this habit, Robbins suggests using the 5-second rule to redirect your thoughts the moment you catch yourself worrying. Instead of letting your mind wander into worst-case scenarios, you can interrupt the pattern with a 5, 4 to 3, 2 to 1 countdown and shift your focus to something more positive or productive. The key takeaway is that worrying doesn't solve anything. It only robs you of the present moment. Chapter 13. End anxiety. In this chapter, Robbins explores the relationship between worry and anxiety, describing anxiety as what happens when worry spirals out of control. She shares her personal struggle with panic attacks and how she used the 5-second rule in combination with a strategy called reframing. Robbins suggests viewing anxiety not as a sign of weakness, but as a habit that can be interrupted and redirected. By acknowledging the physical symptoms of anxiety and reframing them as signs of excitement, you can trick your brain into calming down. She emphasizes that anxiety is a physiological response, and learning to control your thoughts in those crucial moments is essential to breaking the cycle. Chapter 14. Beat fear. In the final chapter of Part 4, Robbins addresses fear, particularly her intense fear of flying. She describes how fear can hijack your mind and cause irrational behaviors, and shares her technique of using anchor thoughts alongside the 5-second rule. An anchor thought is a mental image or memory that you can focus on to keep fear at bay. Robbins explains that planning ahead with anchor thoughts helps you take control of your mind when fear starts to creep in. The combination of counting down and focusing on a positive thought helps to reduce fear and keep you grounded in the present moment. Summary of Part 4. In Part 4, Robbins shifts the focus from behavior to mindset, emphasizing how courage can change the way you think, She teaches that by using the 5-second rule, you can break free from habitual patterns of worry, anxiety, and fear. Robbins shares personal experiences and practical strategies to help you take control of your thoughts. She explains how worry is a learned habit that can be interrupted with the simple countdown and redirected toward gratitude and positivity. For anxiety, Robbins introduces a powerful technique called reframing, which involves viewing anxiety as excitement, helping you manage physical symptoms and regain mental clarity. To tackle fear, she offers the use of anchor thoughts, positive images that ground you and shift your focus away from fear. Ultimately, Part 4 empowers you to master your mind and find greater happiness, optimism, and peace. This marks the end of Part 4. Part 5. Courage changes everything. This part includes chapters 15 to 17. Robbins discusses building real confidence, pursuing your passions, and enriching your relationships to create a truly fulfilling life. How to become the most fulfilled person you know. Part 5 of the book is about embracing deeper and more soulful changes in your life through the lens of everyday courage. Mel Robbins introduces this section by highlighting that achieving fulfillment involves building confidence, discovering and pursuing passions, and enriching your relationships. By using the second rule, Robbins encourages readers to take control of these crucial areas of their lives, ultimately creating a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Chapter 15. Building Real Confidence. In this chapter, Robbins challenges the common belief that confidence is a personality trait. Instead, she defines confidence as the ability to trust yourself and your decisions. Confidence is not about being extroverted or loud, it's about taking action despite self-doubt and fear. Robbins explains that confidence is built through repeated acts of everyday courage, such as speaking up in meetings, introducing yourself to strangers, or standing by your ideas. Using the 5-second rule, you can push yourself to take those small, courageous actions that gradually build genuine self-confidence. Chapter 16. Pursuing Passion. Robbins dives into the idea of finding and pursuing your passions, explaining that passion isn't something you discover by thinking, it's something you find by doing. She encourages readers to follow their curiosity, experiment, and explore without fear of failure. Robbins explains that using the 5-second rule helps you act on your instincts and lean into opportunities that spark your interest. As you take small steps towards exploring these interests, momentum builds and your path becomes clearer. The message is simple. Act now and trust that the journey will reveal itself over time. Chapter 17. Enrich your relationships. In the final chapter, Robbins discusses the importance of courage in relationships. She emphasizes that intimacy and connection require honesty and vulnerability. Using the 5-second rule can help you say what you truly feel, even if it's uncomfortable or emotional. Robbins shares stories of people who found the courage to have honest conversations and express love, gratitude, or concerns, leading to deeper and more meaningful connections. Her key advice is to leave nothing important unsaid, as those conversations create the bonds that enrich our lives. Summary of Part 5. In Part 5, Robbins focuses on how everyday courage can lead to a more fulfilled life by building confidence, pursuing passions, and enriching relationships. She explains that real confidence comes from trusting yourself and taking small, bold actions despite self-doubt. Robbins emphasizes that discovering your passions isn't about waiting for inspiration, but acting on your curiosity and exploring new opportunities. Finally, she highlights the importance of courage in deepening connections with others, encouraging readers to have honest conversations and express their feelings. By using the 5-second rule, you can create a life filled with purpose, passion, and meaningful relationships. This marks the end of Part 5. This brings us to the end of the summary. If you enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening, and see you soon.